Yes, Charleston White is correct. I'm a rapper, not a dealer. Be sure to catch my new show, 50 Cent, 50 Ways to...
I see that Meech concert got the streets talking. The biggest Meech the streets back. That's what I'm talking about. That's how real niggas come home and get it down. 50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You better. I will buy your masters.
50 Cent just straight up roasted Big Meech after whispers spread that Rick Ross may have scammed him out of a mind-blowing $120 million deal. Ross had been hyping up blockbuster films, massive projects, and a Hollywood takeover for Meech. But guess what? Not a single one of those promises ever turned real.
So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie, F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino, there's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it.
Now Meech is left looking like he got played, while 50 is out here turning his name into a punchline across the whole industry. Fans are even joking that the only way to settle this is in a boxing ring. Meech versus 50 would be the kind of headline that shuts the internet down. But let's rewind for a second, because this whole messy saga started way before the clowning began. After Big Meech tried to walk away from the streets and rebuild himself, he thought a huge comeback was waiting. That's when Rick Ross came sliding in, showering him with wild promises, $120 million movies, glossy documentaries, and big league deals that sounded like something straight out of a Marvel budget. Ross was talking with so much confidence, you'd swear Meech was already cashing checks from Disney. And the craziest part, Ross wasn't shy about it. He went on record, flexing heavy, acting like studios were lining up at his door. On paper, it looked like Meech was finally about to cash out on his legendary name. But in reality, Ross didn't deliver a single thing. Instead, it's looking like he just used Meech's legacy as a prop to try and outshine 50 Cent. And you know 50 wasn't gonna let that slide. While Ross was selling dreams and chasing clout, 50 was actually cutting real checks. He funded the entire BMF series, even paid for Little Meech's acting classes, and gave him the spotlight to build a career. That's not smoke and mirrors. Those are hard receipts. Even Tony Yayo backed it up, breaking it down and making sure folks knew who really did the heavy lifting.
When you take Little Meech and you put him in fucking acting school, you know, you take him from Detroit. I remember him rapping when he was rapping and nobody was helping him from what I seen. Cause I remember when Lil Meech was rapping. Nobody helped him, and then 50 put him in acting school, kept it on the low, and he made all this money. You understand what I'm saying? But to be young and have money is crazy, cause we was young and had money before, so I understand. Motherfucker got Richard Millie's, Lil Meech got Richard Millie's Chrome Heart jeans, 10,000. I buy some Chrome Hearts for 10,000. I might wear them shits for a month, bro.
Now the word on the street is Big Meech is heated, pockets looking empty, and slowly realizing Ross left him hanging cold, while 50's still laughing loud. The truth is, Rick Ross only linked with Big Meech to throw slick shade at 50 Cent, and that's the part that cuts the deepest. Instead of coming off like a boss, Meech looks like a pawn in somebody else's chess game. And believe it or not, the fake $120 million promises, that was just the warm-up. Things got way messier once his own son got pulled into the circus. Little Meech got caught on camera kicking it with Ross at a club, and that's where the chaos exploded. Just days before, leaked texts supposedly showed Little Meech saying F Ross. Then, boom, he pops up next to Ross, grinning like nothing ever happened. Fans were losing it, the streets buzzing, everybody asking the same thing. How does this even make sense? That video went viral instantly, the lights flashing red, cameras everywhere, and there's Little Meech, shoulder to shoulder with Ross, whispering, posing for pics, smiling like they've been boys forever, while the world watched in shock. A complete plot twist that had everybody scratching their heads like, what is really going on here? And of course, 50 Cent wasn't gonna let that slide. He hopped online and fired off one of his signature troll shots, joking that Ross told told Little Meech to hand over his dad's address so he could send over some Wingstop. But that jab wasn't just about wings. It was a coded dig. 50 was basically saying Ross isn't building Meech's empire. He's just feeding him scraps like a side order of fries. But then 50 dropped a bomb that shook things even harder. Out of nowhere, he claimed he personally had to send Little Meech to rehab. According to him, Meech was showing up to the BMF set completely lit. So lit, he even threw up during a weapons test. When they searched his truck, they reportedly found whippets stuffed inside. 50 even admitted he had to Google what whippets were, painting himself as the responsible one, stepping in to save Little Meech from spiraling out, while his own father was busy co-signing the same reckless behavior. Now that's wild. And let's be real, it wasn't just talk. Little Meech really made headlines after getting arrested at an airport.
Okay, you understand that?
False. My mom or somebody.
We'll do that after.
Okay.
All right, just turn around for me, be cooperative. Everything that's video and audio surveillance. Plus I'm on body cam, you understand that?
So yes, I understand.
Okay.
Proving just how deep into chaos he was sliding. So when 50 aired all that dirty laundry, people started whispering, was he actually the one who saved Little Meech's career from total collapse? But here's where it gets even messier, because after everything, folks couldn't understand why Meech seemed to side with Rick Ross instead of showing loyalty to 50.
I feel bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man in this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the f I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. Get what you asking for my sympathy for. You be alright. Oh,
That's when another voice jumped in and cranked the drama up to 100. Michael Rainey Jr., yep, Tariq from Power, decided he wasn't biting his tongue. When a fan asked him live if he felt bad for Little Meech, he kept it raw and didn't sugarcoat a thing. That clip of Michael going savage spread like wildfire, and guess who reposted it with a laugh? None other than 50 Cent. He doubled down, echoing Michael's words in his caption, making it clear he was riding with his Power star all the way. It wasn't just a repost, it was a full-blown stamp of approval. The message? 50 thinks Little Meech is soft and not built for this.
February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Me performing BMF with the icon himself. This shit gonna be special.
Epic.
Get your tickets right now.
I'm back.
The timing couldn't have been worse for Meech. It looked like he was losing respect, not just from fans, but from everyone orbiting 50's empire. And here's the kicker. This tension wasn't brand new. It had been bubbling since Big Meech's so-called Welcome Back concert. When Meech came home, the streets expected fireworks, rap heavyweights, an epic celebration, a historic night to remember. But instead of keeping 50, the man who turned his life story into a TV empire, front and center, Meech leaned on Rick Ross to hype the event. There's even a clip of Ross flexing like it was going to be the most legendary comeback ever.
I wasn't going to address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me.
But guess what? The concert never even happened. Promoters backed out, the hype fizzled, and the entire show crashed before it even took off. For 50, that flop wasn't just a bad look, it was straight disrespect. After all the work he put into the BMF series, after putting Little Meech on the map, being sidelined for Ross was unforgivable. That's when 50 turned ice cold, accusing Meech of cutting secret backroom deals with the feds and dragging his name all over the internet. And teaming up with Ross, that just made the fallout 10 times worse. To the streets, it looked like Meech traded loyalty for clout, and 50 wasted no time stamping that as fact with his non-stop trolling posts. What was supposed to be a legendary comeback moment turned into the exact opposite. The so-called concert became the breaking point where people stopped riding for Big Meech.
You took a picture with Rick Ross. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
Overnight, the narrative flipped, and instead of a boss, he started looking like a man fumbling his own legacy. And that's when Meech finally clapped back, and he did it loud. Out of nowhere, he dropped an old photo of him and 50, standing side by side, but with one explosive twist. He slapped a giant rat emoji right over 50's face. That wasn't subtle. It was a direct shot, basically calling 50 a snitch. And if that wasn't bold enough, he doubled down in the caption, labeling 50 an internet gangster, saying all he does is hide behind a phone, trolling from the sidelines instead instead of moving with real action. Ross, of course, couldn't resist stirring the pot. He jumped in immediately, mocking 50 for being pressed about their new link-up. Fans instantly clocked it as a tag team move, Ross co-signing Meech to poke the bear even harder. Suddenly, the trolling turned into a spectacle, with Ross hyping Meech up like he just recruited him into his anti-50 squad. Then came the clip everybody's been replaying. Ross flat out clowning 50, laughing at how furious he looked over Meech standing next to him. The message was clear. This wasn't just friendship. This was a full-on alliance against their common enemy.
Like you think about it, right? When you got a female that's running for you, are you in prison? Putting her life on the line, you entrusted in her to keep your secrets, right? You done signed over your life rights and all these things, right? I know the conversation as an inmate that we have with women. Baby, it's me and you, right? I gave the life rights to you. I didn't give them to my baby mama. I didn't gave them to you. I need you to do this thing, like make this happen. And she's doing all these things, right? And then he gets out of paroles to his baby mama.
But here's the twist people couldn't ignore. 50 was the one who actually gave Little Meech real opportunities. He paid for acting classes, lined up TV roles, and made sure there were steady checks coming in. Meanwhile, Ross only served up flashy photo ops and empty promises. Yet somehow, Meech looked more eager to ride with Ross than the man who built his platform from scratch. That bizarre loyalty shift had everybody confused, and it only fueled the next wild rumor that Meech actually wanted to fight 50 for real. After the rat emoji stunt and Ross's tag team trolling, the internet exploded with talk of a celebrity boxing match between 50 Cent and Big Meech himself. Some fans thought the whole boxing rumor was hilarious, while others said it was just plain sad. Meech, once one of the most feared names in the streets, now being reduced to talk of boxing for clout like a reality TV gimmick. But what really lit the fire wasn't the memes, it was Meech himself. When asked if he'd swing back at 50, he hinted he'd lace up gloves if it came down to it. Even if he said it half joking, the internet didn't care. It ran wild with the idea. And once the blogs caught wind of a potential fight, it spread like wildfire. People started speculating about ticket sales, pay-per-view numbers, and who'd actually win if fists flew. But just when the fight chatter reached boiling point, Whack 100 jumped in, and that's when everything flipped. Whack dropped a bomb, claiming this beef wasn't just about loyalty or Ross, it was about buried secrets. According to him, Meech's own confidant, Tammy Cowan, once confided to 50 that Meech had actually cooperated with federal authorities in other street cases. That allegation hit like a grenade, because if it was true, it could rewrite Meech's entire legacy. And Whack didn't sugarcoat a thing. He claimed flat out that Tammy Cowan, someone trusted deep in Meech's circle, told 50 directly about the supposed cooperation. That's the kind of accusation a street legend can't outrun. The timing made it even nastier. Meech was already getting clowned for the failed concert, mocked for riding with Ross, and now this rumor of working with the feds popped up like a scarlet letter. Overnight, the conversation shifted. People weren't just debating about boxing matches or Instagram trolling anymore. They were asking if Meech's entire reputation was built on a lie. 50 didn't even need to say much this time. The internet did the heavy lifting for him. Memes went crazy. Old interviews resurfaced, and fans even speculated that Meech's soft stance with Ross was really about keeping certain people quiet. For a man who once symbolized loyalty and silence, even the hint of working with the feds was enough to shake the whole room. And of course, Ross had to jump in again, spinning it like 50 was just desperate to drag Meech's name through the mud. But for fans watching this circus unfold, it felt way bigger than trolling. It looked like real cracks forming in a myth that had stood untouched for years. Whack was flat out hinting that Big Meech wasn't as loyal to the streets as people always believed. That's where 50's whole snitch narrative really found its legs. And Whack didn't hit the brakes, he pushed even harder. He claimed Tammy might have had her own motives for flipping on Meech. Maybe because she felt abandoned when he got locked up. Or maybe because she was tired of him trying to snatch back his life rights. And remember, those rights were already locked in with 50 for the BMF series. That detail made the sting even sharper because it painted the picture of betrayal mixed with messy business. If there was even a shred of truth to it, it would leave Meech in a dangerous corner. Just imagine the person closest to you, the one who knows all your secrets, being the same person sliding ammo straight into your enemy's lap. Whack even spelled it out, claiming Tammy might have been feeding 50 info the entire time. That idea had fans wide-eyed because if 50 shots were coming from inside Meech's circle, then his empire wasn't collapsing from the outside, it was rotting from within. But whether Wack was exposing facts or just stirring the pot for clout, one thing was clear: it gave 50 even more fuel to keep clowning, and fans wasted no time jumping in with their own jokes and wild memes. One of the biggest moments came when Big Meech popped out in public rocking Kanye West's iconic graduation jacket. On the surface, it looked like just another flashy flex, but people instantly clocked the symbolism. Was Meech sending a hidden signal, trying to prove he was still untouchable? Or was it a quiet cry for help, graduated out of the street code? Or was he just trolling the snitch whispers that won't leave his name alone? That graduation jacket wasn't just a fit, it was a message. Fans instantly noticed it was the same Kanye album that outsold 50 in their infamous 2007 sales battle. Some laughed it off as a wild coincidence, but others swore Meech wore it on purpose, poking old wounds and clowning a former ally who once stood beside him. Either way, the shockwaves were heavy. It looked like Meech was leaning right into 50's biggest L just to stir the pot harder. But the real twist wasn't the jacket, it was 50's silence. Normally, Curtis Jackson is the first one to screenshot a goofy pic or flame somebody's outfit online, but this time, nothing. No post, no meme, not even a slick caption. That's exactly why whispers started. Folks saying 50 was holding back on purpose, saving his ammo for something massive. And if you know 50, when he skips an easy roast, it usually means he's loading a heavier shot. And when he finally fires, it lands like a nuke. At this point, it's crystal clear. This isn't just trolling anymore. 50 has locked in on Big Meech like it's personal. Most beefs fade in weeks, but with Meech, every single move sparks another response. Some say 50 feels betrayed. After all, he put Little Meech on, gave him the platform, only to watch him cozy up to Rick Ross, his sworn rival. Others say it's deeper, that for 50, it's about power and dominance. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to crush anyone who dares to cross him. Letting a single slide would look weak, and that's something 50 Cent has never allowed. And if this feud ever leaps from Instagram comments to an actual boxing ring, it won't just be entertainment. It'll be the final chapter in a war that's already gone way too far. One man fighting to protect his legacy, the other trying to destroy it for laughs. So what do you think? Will Big Meech finally swing back, or is 50 about to shut this story down his way? Drop your thoughts below, smash that like, hit subscribe, and stick around, because the next move in this saga is already locked and loaded.